Hello friends, my name is Sarabjit Singh. I will now be giving a presentation on creating a value proposition design business model canvas. This presentation is in 3 sections. First, I will talk about the basics of value proposition design business model canvas. Then we'll create customer profiles for all the 9 boxes that are part of the one-page business model canvas. And finally, I will give you a chart which shows Airbnb business model canvas case study. Value proposition design, BMC basics. First, as I said, these are the 9 building blocks of the business model canvas. Customer segments are filled in first, then value proposition segment, which is in the middle, and then the channels through which the product is delivered as created in the value proposition and as wanted by the selected customer segments. This builds customer relationship, which we fill in fourth. Then we fill in the revenue streams, key resources, key activities, key partnerships, and the cost structure. This is the 9-box, one-pager business model canvas. The blue square and the red circle that you see, these represent respectively first the value proposition, and the red circle you see is the customer segment. The selected customer segment is filled in the red box, and the value proposition required to fulfill customer needs is given in the square. These are connected. We will see how these are filled in a few moments. Meanwhile, you will notice that there is a red line, dotted line in fact, which is dividing the canvas into 2 parts. On the right side, we have the external environment where we deliver what we create. Here, it starts with the customer segments, then the channels through which the product is delivered, then creating customer relationships, then creating revenue streams for getting the money from the market. On the left side, we have our own internal processes through which we deliver what are required to the customer part on the right side. This includes firstly the key resources, then the key activities, then the key partners, and then finally we have the cost structure. So once we fill this whole canvas, we have a connected model of what is required to be done to create a successful startup. So these are the 9 segments. I've shown which segments are filled first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and then on the other side, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Just see for yourself. And later on, if anybody wants, I will be able to send them on this template through email. Now, creating customer profiles. This is the key. Let's see how we create customer profiles. Okay. The most important thing is that we have to achieve fit in the 2 boxes. First, the circle that you saw there, which represented the customer. So why does the customer wants something? And in answering this why, we get to know what we need to deliver to the customer in the value proposition box to satisfy his needs. Okay. This is shown in greater detail here. The why of the customer is, has three parts: customer jobs, then the pains he is facing in getting these jobs done, and the gains he's expecting if these pains are overcome. And on the left side, we have the value proposition. Here we start with the pain relievers. The customer has some pains, and what do we do to relieve the pains? Pain relievers are the solutions we give to relieve the pains in getting the job done by the customer. Then, based on this pain relievers, we create products and services which we supply to the customer, and then we see what are the gains that are created and how these gains are created. When you create great gains, where the customer saves a lot of money and he is delivered what he really wants, this is what creates success. So this is the key and the first two blocks that we fill in. So let's look at a customer profile. Customer profile describes a specific customer segment in a detailed, structured manner. It breaks the customer down into jobs, pains, and gains. Customer jobs describe in the customer's own words what he/she wants and is trying to get done at their workplace and within their lives. Gains describe the outcomes customers want to achieve or the concrete benefits they are seeking. The pains are the bad outcomes and risks and obstacles which are related to customer jobs. You may fill in any of these boxes in turn, starting with the first box, of course, most probably the customer jobs that are required to be done by the customer. However, you can still start with the pains. The customer, you imagine a customer wants to say, delivery on the doorstep without having to touch the product, delivery at a distance. So this is his pain. Now you can start with that and say, okay, to remove these pains, these are the jobs which we required by the e-commerce provider. And what are the gains? Customer has gains, the e-service provider also has gains. But we here look at the customer gains. Okay. Then we create a value map. Value map is the box that you have in the value proposition area. This map describes the feature of a specific value proposition in a detailed structure manner. It breaks the value proposition into three parts: products and services, pain relievers, and gain creators. A list of all the products and services a value proposition is built around is first filled in. Always, in fact, I would say. And after this, you fill in the gain creators, describing how your products and services create customer gains. And then finally, you will fill in the pain relievers, how your products and services ease customer pains. Here I recommend that you fill in this order, although in the customer profile box, you could fill in any of those three areas. But here, personally, I suggest that you first fill in the products and services, then gain creators, and finally, the pain relievers. So when you have filled in all the two boxes and reiterated till you get a balance between the two, reiteration is always desired, because when you go around and round, you keep on improving what you have filled in these boxes. After reiteration, you will find that your value map meets your customer profiles. The value map satisfies what the customer requires in his customer profiles. That's what I mean. And your products and services produce pain relievers and gain creators that match one or more of the jobs, pains, and gains. And all this creates value for your customers, value which is much, much higher than what your competitors would be offering. Now, when I say much, much higher, that is because in the post-COVID-19 era, you are actually using innovation to create new to the world solutions, solutions which do not exist and which give high gains and produce exponential growth products and services. So you are creating fantastic value for the end customer, values which has not existed in the world till now. Now, let's look at business model canvas, customer segments. So for whom are we creating value? We have to answer this. And who are our most important customers? So are we creating a mass market, niche market, segmented market, diversified segments, multi-sided platforms? Select one or more of these areas. For highest gains, I would say that we select multi-sided platforms. I will deal with multi-sided platforms in a separate presentation and show how this 3 trillion a year market can be captured very, very well by those with a high degree of imagination and people who are able to apply innovation at all stages. So let us look at the BMC value propositions. What value do we deliver to the customer? Which of our customers' problems are we helping to solve? Here, as in the last, we are asking questions. We ask questions and then find answers. Okay? So we are probing. And how do we find answers is that we actually go to the customer and ask him. We have teams going out and asking the questions. We do not, guess what the customer wants. We must get his ideas. Even for products which are totally new to the world, we must go to the customers and ask their views about them. The third question is, what products and services are we offering to our customers? Okay. Then we have, which customer needs are we satisfying? How many more needs do we need to satisfy? Are we satisfying sufficiently? Only the customer can tell you. Your ideas may be slightly different from what the customer really would come up with. So unless you ask the customers, you will not be able to satisfy all his needs. And the characteristics of your offerings are newness, performance, customization, and actual design. The design has to be totally innovative, totally innovative and new to the world. And then you have brand status that you offer, the price, cost reductions, risk reduction. All this must go into the design that you make when you have answered about 4 questions. So these are the characteristics which you must look for in the model that you finally create. Then, of course, accessibility, convenience, usability, and the very basics, getting the job done. Unless you get the job done, nothing will work. One has to have the delivery system to get the job done. Otherwise, all that you design and offer is of no use. It's the final delivery and execution that matters. Now, let us look at customer channels. This is the third box. Okay. You have created something for the customer, the value proposition design, and now to deliver it to the customer, you use customer channels. Okay, so a channel is through which you deliver the product to the customer segments you want to reach. It could be one customer segment, it could be multiple customer segments. It depends on what you are trying to do and doing. How are we reaching them now? Let's see. Okay, how are our channels integrated? Which ones work best? You must remember there can be many channels for delivering to the customer. And are these integrated with the customer and the value proposition which offers the product? So how many of these channels are really integrated and will work smoothly? Which ones work best? Finally, you select which ones work best. And those that are not delivering that good a value, just scrap them. And then which are most cost efficient, not only for the customer, but for you and for all the other stakeholders. And how are we integrating them into customer routines? Say if you have to deliver, on the step to the customer through e-commerce, you will say delivery is from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Now, you don't expect the customer to be at home during this period. And you're saying you're going to receive a delivery today between 7 a.m. and 9 p.m. Do not expect that the customer will be sitting there waiting for you. So how do you deliver to customer routine? Suppose customer goes to office at a certain time, and you must try to deliver when he's definitely going to be home and comfortable taking delivery. Alternatively, you can find a way to leave the package where the customer wants it left. Even change the locations based on customers' requirements, things like that. So customer routines have to be considered and integrated into the whole design. Now, these are the phases of the channels. Okay. How do we raise awareness about a company's products and services? Evaluation, how do we help customers evaluate our organization's value proposition? Then about the purchase, how do we like customers to purchase specific products and services, then delivery and after sales service. So these are the channel phases. Customers have to be aware of them. They have to evaluate and tell us what they like, and we must honor what they like and try to implement accordingly, things like that. Delivery. How do we deliver a value proposition to the customers? It is not anything that is to our convenience. It is the customer's convenience that counts. Only the customer convenience counts, not ours. Then once you have delivered what the customer wants, look at the fourth box, customer relationships. What type of relationship does each of our customer want? Segments expected to establish and maintain with them. Which ones have we established? How are they integrated with the rest of our business model, and how costly they are for the customer, more importantly, than for us? Examples of this are personal experience assistance, then dedicated personal assistance, self-service, automated services, then community connects, co-creation of the design with the customer. Then we look at the revenue stream. This is the final fifth box on the right side of how we deliver to the customer. The revenue stream is through a channel that we collect what we get in return for what we deliver. Okay, for what do they currently pay? Okay, so customer, he pays for what? If somebody delivers a package to him, do they ask them to pay more if the value is less than a certain amount, or do they always give it free? Do they charge for the packaging? Do they charge for other services? Many people do. But when you charge something, it should be adding value to the customer. Otherwise, do not charge. For instance, I have been taking, delivery of meat and related products from one supplier, and they charge a certain amount for packing it. They say delivery is free above, say, 600 rupees, but even if you order, say, for 5,000 rupees, they'll still charge you 30 rupees for packaging. When I say rupees, I'm talking about Indian currency. Now, I really do not really understand why they have to charge me for packing. Why should they be charging? And if they charge, it is something that leaves a bad taste in the customer's mouth. Let's not be too greedy or unconcerned. So how much does each revenue stream contribute to the overall revenues? Because you may have various revenue streams. For instance, you may hire out something to the customer, sell it for a particular amount, or charge in installments, things like that. Okay, so now look at the various revenue streams that are available: asset service, usage fees, subscriptions, lending, renting. I talked a little bit of this on the last page: licensing, brokerage fees, list price, product features, customer segment dependent, all those other things, And then there's dynamic pricing. There is negotiation. You may want to enter into this, or ask the customer what is the maximum price he wants to pay, things like that, and then find a product which suits him. Then real-time marketing on the go, on the spot. Whole lot of things, like when you sell an old car and want to buy a car after selling it, or exchange or whatever, there are companies which even now offer you real-time market. Okay, I'll take your car, and in exchange for this, I will offer you all these other cars with these added benefits, things like that, whatever. Okay. Now, let us look at the key partners. Without the key partners, we just cannot actually service the customers. Key partners are very important for us. So who are our key partners? Our key suppliers? Which key resources are we acquiring from these partners? Which key activities do partners perform? Then motivations for partnerships, optimization and economy, reduction of risk and uncertainty, acquisition of particular resources and activities. When I read this list, it reminds me of how very much dependent Amazon is on its key partners. Without its key partners, Amazon Prime would just not work, especially Amazon Pantry services. So these are the key activities that are required to be done. After you got the key partners, then these are the activities in which partners help you a great deal. So some other key activities are what are mandatory as per the key value proposition percepts. So look at a value proposition and then see, okay, these activities must be got done. Then our distribution channels, customer relationship, revenue streams. And these are also divided into various categories like production, problem solving, then platform networks. As I said, the most important area and something which will really separate you from the crowd is working on total platforms and networks. If you own a network, then you are the boss and you are able to supply things and offer services at the lowest possible rates. Already this is being done by Uber, BNB, and people like that. Okay. Then what are the key resources? Okay. So these key resources are physical, intellectual, human, financial. Then the cost structure. What are the most important costs inherent in our business model? Which key resources are most expensive? Which key activities are most expensive? Why do we ask these questions? Which are most expensive? Because there are always ways and ways to reduce this in the post-COVID era, where we have recourse to artificial intelligence and a high degree of digitization. When you automate something, its expense vanishes, literally. So you have to look at the high cost areas and reduce them to zero if possible. And it will be possible, don't worry. The cost structure, when we look at it, we look at how costs are driven and the value drivers and the characteristics. So these are all given here. So in value-driven segment, we look at the value creation, premium value proposition, etc. Okay, these are the focus areas, and fixed costs, the salaries and utilities, and how we can control these by automating different areas of the business. Then variable costs, economies of scale, economies of scope, things like that. We must look at every single aspect. When somebody says this can't be done, that person is a liability to you. Everything can be done. We assume that everything will be possible, especially where cost structures are concerned. Okay, so now let us look at the Airbnb case study. In an earlier module that I put up on YouTube, I talked about various aspects of how Airbnb deals with, the customers and with the hosts. So this is the final part of that. There we said how value is created and delivered and trust is created and delivered. And Airbnb tries to take care of everything for you. They leave nothing to chance, both for the host as well as for the visitor, the user of the accommodation which is offered by the host. Now we'll give you the final module on this, which is the BMC case study that Airbnb has built in the post-COVID-19 era. Here it is. So this is the business model canvas, okay? So let's look at the value proposition. So value proposition as related to the host. So this is what the host wants income generation, ease of transactions, meeting new people, ease of getting verified guests, then calendar, booking management. So BNB here has recorded this, okay? And they ensure that the host gets all this with ease without having to go through any pains. And now for the guests, what do the guests want? They want a lower cost than what others offer for the same kind of experience. And they want easy transactions. Somebody else should handle the money, not them. So Airbnb themselves handles all the money. You pay Airbnb just before you go to the place where you're going to stay with the host. And after the first 1 day's stay, Airbnb will transfer the full amount to the host. So there'll be no hassle between you and the host. The rate is already fixed and it is paid to the host in full for your whole stay 1 day after you have checked in, which means that you have in 1 day decided, okay, you'll be staying on. This place is okay for you. If this place is not okay, within 1 day, you leave and you will be refunded the money. There'll be no tussle involved. It will be very simple, simply handed to your convenience. Then the guest wants authentic local experience. Airbnb has already researched this for you based on your requirements, and they try their very, very best to give you the authentic local experience in line with what you want. You want more variety, they'll offer it for you. You want transparent ratings, these are available to you. If you want to go somewhere and you say that, okay, I want to stay in this place, but I'm so shy that I don't want to really meet the host. Even that's possible. They'll leave you alone and maybe they will just check with you when should they clean your room and provide other services. Should they leave it at your, on the table for you, or ring the bell and keep it outside. You want anything, they'll Airbnb will get it for you in line with discussion with the host. And then you look at the customer segments. So here, Airbnb is looking at micro segmentation. They want to give the very, very best personalized deal to the guests, type of travel, business, leisure, demographic, geographic, behavior. See, even in travel for guests, the behavior requirement of the guest is very important. As I said, the guest may say, yeah, I don't want to meet anybody. I just want a forest retreat. And these are the only services I want. I don't want to see anybody while I'm there. And without me having to be, talked to, I want this done. And the hosts and Airbnb together ensure that you get what you want, such as accommodation type, demographic, geographic, rental preferences, and all other micro-segmentation needs of the guests as well as the host will be covered. Okay. So channels, digital ads, contact marketing, word of mouth, social messages, referral programs, transactions, engagements, and customer relationship. So Airbnb says that we want to own the relationships and manage interactions. They do this very well for the guests, and especially for the host, they want all issue resolutions. If a guest breaks anything, the guest doesn't have to pay. Airbnb covers every single visit through insurance, then guide joining steps, then public company image, all this as required by the host as well as Airbnb are covered. Then you have various rental schemes as shown here. Then key activities, remove friction from transactions. I'm talking about activities, scale beyond critical mass, engage the participants, refine value proposal, analyze data and improve. There's always need for improvement and keep on improving, because as customers get more and more sophisticated, they want to stay ahead of the customer and give much, much more than they want. Even when everybody accepts everything fantastic for Airbnb, they always surprise you with more and more. And the key resources that Airbnb have required and they are always improved upon is the network effect, the listings, user-generated content, platform architecture, so algorithms, data analytics, capabilities, people, brand, apps. So they use, say, for instance, algorithms to, see that this type of customer would also want this, and they say, okay, you're taking this in your retreat in the forest. Do you want along with this? Whatever you want, okay? So they use data analytics and algorithms to actually enhance the experience. And the key partners that Airbnb has are the hosts, the business travel partners to whom you will travel to your location, then travel managers, investors, venture capitalists, lobbyists, all these to maintain the system as it goes on, including the properties at which the travelers will stay. And other partners that Airbnb has, which guests can use, are specialist photographers and event management, then cloud storage of all the data, identification, insurance, things like that. In fact, Airbnb for every visit has $1 million insurance to cover any loss to the host or the guest. If the house burns down, up to $1 million will be paid for the damages. Same with the customer. If a customer falls down and breaks his leg, he'll be compensated totally for his loss. And it's not that it is, that for the month or year, this is the insurance you pay for it. It's all free and within the cost of what the whole package, both for the guest as well as for the host. There's no hidden charges. They'll say you'll have to pay this much extra insurance. Like I was talking about, packaging charges for the meat supplier. I'll supply you whatever you want and it's free delivery, but you have to pay 30 rupees packaging charges. No such thing here in this. Okay, so gentlemen and ladies and friends, this is all that we have for today. I look forward to seeing you again very soon.